Welcome to the channel. And let's start the story. Arc 2, The Academy Ranking War, Chapter 13, The Man the Commander Bowed to. Commander Orven Hale had survived 3 sieges, 2 collapsed capitals, a throne-born plague, and 1 battlefield where the dead had continued fighting for 6 hours after their hearts stopped. None of those experiences had prepared him for Edran Vare saying, "You had one job." Orven remained frozen at the entrance to Asterian Royal Academy. His military coat still carried the silver insignia of the National Magic Council. A scar crossed the left side of his face. His hair had become mostly gray. His shoulders were broader than Edran remembered. But beneath 12 years of age and command, Orven Hale was still the exhausted young captain who had once stared across a burning battlefield and asked Edran whether victory was supposed to look that terrible. Around them, the academy entrance had gone silent. Dean Lisette Arklane stood beside Edran. Professor Dalmir stared. Professor Seraphine Voss stared harder. Archivist Melis Wren had stopped halfway through lowering one of her floating record cases. And Magister Haven Rusk, who rarely allowed surprise to remain visible longer than necessary, was watching everything. Orven straightened from his bow. "I believed you were dead." Edran sighed. "I was unemployed. That is not the same thing. It occasionally felt worse." Professor Dalmir's head turned slowly toward Edran. "You know Commander Hale?" Edran looked at him. "No." Orven stared. Dalmir stared. Seraphine raised one eyebrow. Lisette closed her eyes. Edran added, "We have met." Orven's expression became deeply offended. "Met? Yes. You carried me out of the ruins of Valmir. Many people were carried that day. You personally ordered my battalion to retreat. People issue orders. You threatened to throw me over the city wall when I refused." Edran considered. "That sounds excessive. You did throw Captain Soren over the wall. There was a river below it. There was a waterfall below the river. He survived. Barely. That still counts." Seraphine slowly looked at Lisette. Lisette stared straight ahead. "I warned all of you that asking questions would make things worse." Magister Rusk stepped forward. "Enough comedy. Enough uncertainty." His black council robes barely moved as he walked. "Commander Hale." Orven turned. Rusk's eyes were cold. "You bowed?" "Yes." "To Professor Edran Vare?" "Yes." "Why?" Orven looked at Edran. Edran looked back. 12 years. 1 glance. That was enough. Not a command. Not exactly. But Orven understood. "Do not say it." The commander's jaw tightened. "Because Professor Vare served during the Liberation War." Professor Dalmir's expression changed. Seraphine became very still. Rusk did not blink. "In what capacity?" Orven answered. "Field operations." Archivist Wren immediately opened one of her cases. Documents floated upward. "Under what command?" Orven paused. Edran spoke before he could. "Do we have to do this outside?" Everyone looked at him. Edran pointed toward the academy windows. Dozens of students were pretending not to watch. Some were doing so badly. One student had pressed both hands and his entire face against the glass. Lucan Marrow. Caien pulled him backward. Rusk followed Edran's gaze. Then looked at Lisette. "A private chamber." Lisette nodded. "Council Hall 3. Edran's face fell. "Does it have windows?" "No." "You plan this?" "Yes." "I dislike competent people. You train me." That was clearly a mistake. They entered the academy. Behind the windows. Class 1F immediately scattered. Badly. Council Hall 3 had been built for disciplinary hearings. Edran knew this because every chair looked intentionally uncomfortable. A long black table occupied the center. 3 council investigators sat on one side. Lisette, Dalmir, and Seraphine sat on the other. Orven remained standing. Edran looked at the final chair. Then toward the door. Lisette said, "Sit." "I prefer standing." "No, you prefer escaping." "That too." "Sit." Edran sat. Magister Rusk placed a damaged wartime ledger on the table. The copy designation remained visible. Field Authority EV. Rusk folded his hands. "Professor Vare." Edran looked toward him. "You are 36 years old. So I have been told. At the beginning of the Liberation War, you would have been approximately 19. "Yes." "At the final campaign 24. "Yes." "You have no registered military history." "Correct." "No guild service record." "Correct." "No Royal Army record." "Correct." No council employment record. Very proudly correct. Rusk's expression did not move. And yet Commander Hale recognizes you. Apparently. Professor Dalmir reports that you dismantled a fifth circle flame lance, using no visible formation. Dalmir shifted. I did not report it. Lisette looked at him. You submitted a faculty incident memorandum. That is not reporting. That is exactly reporting. Dalmir frowned. Archivist Wren continued. Asterian's Western Barrier identified Professor Vare as an unrestricted legacy authority. Seraphine turned sharply toward Lisette. Lisette said nothing. Wren looked down at another document. Additionally, several archive campaigns reference an unidentified field authority using the initials EV. She placed 4 fragments on the table. Evacuate Western District, Authority EV. Thrown artillery will fire at dawn, EV. Do not engage third chain until civilians clear, EV. Then, the 4th. Caelum, stop improvising. EV. Silence. Edran stared at the document. Orven coughed. Professor Dalmir blinked. Seraphine looked at Edran. That is an official wartime order? Orven answered quietly. Yes. It says, stop improvising. Yes. In an official command ledger? Yes. Edran leaned back. He improvised constantly. Archivist Wren looked up. You recognize the document. Edran realized his mistake. Too late. Rusk's eyes narrowed. So you were EV. Edran sighed. Yes. No one moved. Professor Dalmir slowly lowered both hands to the table. Seraphine stared. Lisette remained composed because she had already known. Rusk asked. What did EV stand for? Edran Vare. Pause. That was easier than expected, Lucan whispered from somewhere outside. Everyone inside froze. Lisette's eyes closed. Edran looked toward the wall. There is a ventilation duct. Orven looked upward. A faint scratching sound followed. Kaien whispered. Move. Lucan whispered back. I'm stuck. Rusk stared at Lisette. Are students listening to this hearing? No. A muffled thump came from the wall. Nia whispered. Technically we are above it. Lisette stood. Excuse me. She left. 3 seconds later. Several frightened noises echoed through the ventilation system. Then silence. Edran nodded approvingly. Competent. Rusk ignored him. You served as field authority during the Liberation War. Yes. Under whose command? There it was. Edran looked at Orven. Then Lisette returned. Her expression was calm. Too calm. 24 students were about to experience consequences. Rusk repeated. Under whose command? Edran answered. No one's. Archivist Wren frowned. That is impossible. It was wartime. Every field authority had a chain of command. Not that one. Rusk's voice hardened. Who authorized you? Edran looked directly at him. The people who needed someone to make decisions. Rusk leaned back. That is not an institution. No. A military force cannot function without institutional legitimacy. Edran's tired expression sharpened. That was precisely the problem. Silence. Orven's eyes lowered. He remembered. The liberation had not begun because a council approved it. It began because people were dying while councils discussed jurisdiction. Rusk said. You expect us to believe a 19-year-old civilian became an independent field authority? No. Then explain. I expect you to believe records. Edran tapped the documents. They say I was there. They do not say why. Then perhaps whoever erased that part did not want you knowing. Archivist Wren became still. Now he knows better. Orven's jaw tightened. Dalmir said nothing. Seraphine, who had spent years teaching brilliant students and watching some become people she barely recognized, understood more than she wanted to. Archivist Wren changed documents. We recovered 7 references to disciples. Edran's hand stopped. Only one has a confirmed name. Caelum. 6 remain unidentified. Edran did not move. Wren slid another fragment forward. The edges were burned. Only several words survived. First, Caelum. Second, destroyed. Third, destroyed. Further down. Barely visible. 7th, sealed. The 7th chain around Edran's heart tightened. Edran's breath stopped. Lisette noticed. So did Orven. Wren continued. Do you know the identities of the other 6? Edran looked at the word. Sealed. Something moved behind his memory. A girl laughing. No. A woman arguing. No. A hand reaching toward him. A voice. If you do this, will you remember me? Pain struck. Edran's fingers tightened beneath the table. Rusk repeated, Professor? Edran answered, I knew them. Past tense. Ren leaned forward. Their names? Edran opened his mouth. Nothing came. Not because he refused. Because the seventh was gone. He remembered 6 silhouettes. He remembered 7 chairs. 7-inch voices. 7-inch arguments. 7-inch students. But one face. Nothing. One name. Nothing. The chain burned. Edran's expression finally cracked. Orven moved instantly. Enough. Everyone turned. Rusk frowned. Commander. Orven stepped between Edran and the investigators. I said enough. You are here as council military representative. Yes. Then act like one. Orven looked toward Rusk. I am. His voice changed. No longer deferential. No longer the shocked veteran at the gate. Commander. Professor Vare is not under arrest. No. He has answered questions voluntarily. For now. And you are pushing into sealed wartime material without knowing what was sealed or why. Rusk stood. Are you suggesting the council should stop investigating? I am suggesting you remember why some records were classified. Rusk's eyes hardened. Do you know? Orven paused. Yes. Edran looked up. Orven continued. Some information from the final campaign was sealed because merely knowing it created magical vulnerabilities. Archivist Ren stiffened. Memory-linked formations. Yes. Identity contracts? Yes. Conceptual bindings? Orven looked at Edran. Yes. Ren immediately closed the damaged ledger. That changed everything. Information itself could be a trigger. A name could be a key. A remembered face could open something. Edran looked toward Orven. The commander had protected him. Again. Rusk sat slowly. We will continue tomorrow. Edran immediately stood. No. Rusk stared. I have ranking war supervision. That is irrelevant. No. Edran's expression became colder. It is not. Rusk opened his mouth. Edran continued. 24 students entered this competition believing their class rank determined their worth. Dalmir looked toward him. Seraphine too. They are learning otherwise. Edran's voice remained quiet. I will not disappear from their tournament because the council suddenly remembered a war 12 years too late. Silence. Orven's eyes shifted. He remembered another disappearance. After the liberation. Teacher gone. The 7 scattered. Caelum furious. Everyone asking what came next. Edran continued. Schedule your questions around the matches. Rusk stared at him. You are issuing conditions to the National Magic Council? Edran looked tired again. Yes. Orven coughed into one hand. Possibly hiding something. Rusk turned toward Lisette. She smiled politely. As Dean of Asterion, I agree. Rusk looked at Seraphine. She said. The students come first. Dalmir folded his arms. They do. Rusk stared at all of them. This institution is deeply irritating. Edran nodded. I am beginning to like it. Class 1F was waiting outside. Not obviously. That would have been undignified. Instead, Kaien stood beside a decorative pillar. Celine pretended to read a wall plaque. Torin examined the floor. Nia looked at a painting. Liora stood perfectly composed. Lucan was halfway inside a potted tree. Edran stopped. What are you doing? Lucan slowly emerged from the branches. Botany. You were in the ventilation duct. Botanical ventilation. Kaien asked. So what? Commander Hale. Edran started walking. Class 1F followed. Why did he bow? Edran continued. Back injury. 24 students stopped. Orven, emerging behind them, heard it. His face became deeply offended. My back is perfectly functional. Edran looked at him. Then stopped bowing to people. Orven stared. Lucan whispered. He talks to a council commander like that. Celine whispered back. I noticed. Kaien caught up. You served during the Liberation War. Edran glanced at him. You heard that? No. Pause. The wall told us. Torin looked offended. Do not involve earth magic in this. Liora said. Professor. Edran stopped. She looked toward Orven. Then him. You told us yesterday that Caelum was someone you failed. Yes. Was Commander Hale another student? Orven nearly choked. No, Edran said immediately. Orven looked relieved. Then Edran added. He was worse. Orven's relief vanished. I commanded 6,000 soldiers. You disobeyed constantly. Your orders were unreasonable. They kept you alive. They involved crossing a burning bridge. It was not burning when I gave the order. It was burning when we reached it. Timing issue. Kaien stared. Selene stared. Lucan looked delighted. You really were like this during the war. Edran looked at him. Worse. Orven answered. Much worse. For the first time. Class 1F saw Edran through someone else's memory. Not the lazy teacher. Not the mysterious professor. Not even the impossible sorcerer. Someone who had stood inside a war. Someone commanders had obeyed. Someone survivors still bowed to. And somehow, that frightened them less than expected. Because Edran was still holding the same terrible cup of tea. Kaien looked at him for several seconds. Then asked, Were you strong? Edran answered, No. Orven laughed. Loudly. Everyone turned. The commander actually had to lean against the wall. Edran stared. What? Orven wiped one eye. Nothing. Kaien narrowed his eyes. That means yes. Edran continued walking. Your next team evaluation begins in 40 minutes. The students froze. Lucan looked toward the arena. We still have matches? Edran glanced back. What did you think the ranking war was? Kaien grinned. The mystery could wait. Competition could not. The final preliminary event was announced across the grand arena. Individual results had concluded. Class 1F had finished with a balanced record. Not dominant. Not embarrassing. More importantly, they had forced higher-ranked opponents to adapt. The board displayed. Final preliminary event. Mixed team control match. 6 students. 2 teams. 3 objective pillars. 1 rotating caster restriction. Every 5 minutes, only 1 designated member of each team could cast. The other 2 had to support without magic. Then the caster changed. Professor Seraphine Voss stepped beside Edran at the instructor platform. She looked toward the board. The pairing was randomized. Edran looked at her. You are lying. Yes. I appreciate honesty. I requested this team. The board changed. Team Kaien Rook, Class 1F. Princess Liora Asterwin, Class 1F. Aurelian Crest, Class 1A. The arena erupted. Kaien stared at the screen. No. Aurelian Crest entered from the opposite corridor. Blonde hair. Perfect posture. Calm expression. He looked toward Kaien. Again. Kaien pointed. No. Aurelian smiled. Yes. Liora sighed. This will be exhausting. Their opposing team appeared. Team B. Vessa Thorn, Class 1A. Dane Merrick, Class 1A. Galen Ward, Class 1A. Kaien stared. All 3 from rank 1? Seraphine answered. Yes. Why? Because I wanted to know whether you learned anything. Kaien looked toward Edran. Your colleagues are terrible. Edran nodded. Finally, something we agree on. The arena transformed. 3 enormous pillars rose. Red. Blue. Gold. Control required continuous contact for 30 seconds. Holding 2 pillars at the end meant victory. Simple. Except, only 1 person per team could use magic at a time. The caster order appeared. First 5 minutes. Team A, Kaien. Team B, Vessa. Kaien grinned. Metal against fire. Good. Then Edran called from the platform. Kaien. He looked up. Do not try to prove you are better than Aurelian. Kaien's grin disappeared. Aurelian glanced toward him. Edran continued. And do not try to prove you are better than Class 1A. Kaien frowned. Then what am I proving? Nothing. Kaien stared. Edran leaned back. Try winning instead. The bell rang. Vessa moved. Metal blades exploded from the floor. Kaien ignited. And Arc 2's final battle began. Far beneath the arena. The first foundation watched. The forgotten 7th disciple sat beside it. The roots wrote. Commander bowed. Yes. What? She looked upward. Because he remembers. The root paused. Then wrote. Remembering makes bow? No. She smiled faintly. Respect does. The foundation considered. Then. Edran respected? Her smile faded. Once. The root moved again. Now. She looked toward the lights showing Class 1F. Students arguing. Laughing. Preparing to fight together. Edran watching them. Not commanding. Not solving. Teaching. Her expression softened. Maybe again. Then the 7th lock behind her pulsed. The council had found the record. 7th, sealed. The lock knew. The foundation knew. And something inside Edran was beginning to remember. The woman touched the stone. Not yet. The root stopped. She whispered, "Let him finish teaching them first." Because 12 years ago, Edran had saved the world before finishing his lesson. This time, she wanted to see whether he could finish the lesson before trying to save anything. Chapter 14, The Class That Refused to Stay Last. The first metal blade crossed the arena before Caien finished inhaling. Vesa Thorn did not waste time. 3 steel ribbons erupted from beneath the floor, split into 6 edges and converged toward Caien from different angles. Caien raised one hand. Fire gathered. His first instinct, burn through them. His second, prove he could. Then he heard Edran. Try winning instead. Caien released the flame downward. Not toward Vesa. Not toward the blades. Heat struck the stone beneath his feet. The air expanded. Caien launched himself sideways. The blades missed. Aurelian stared. You used fire burst for movement. Caien landed. I know. That was almost intelligent. Caien turned. Would you like to die? Liora shouted. Both of you move. Vesa's steel ribbons changed direction. Aurelian and Liora, unable to cast during Caien's 5-minute phase, ran. That was the rule. 1 caster. 2 ordinary bodies. No reinforcement. No magic-assisted movement. No barriers beyond tournament safety enchantments. Team A needed to reach a control pillar. Vesa knew exactly which one Caien wanted. Red. Nearest. Obvious. So Caien ran toward blue. Aurelian hesitated. Why blue? Because she thinks I want red. That is not a strategy. It became one when she agreed with you. Aurelian glanced toward Vesa. The metal mage had indeed committed most of her blades toward the red lane. He smiled. Fair. Liora moved ahead. No magic, Caien warned. I am aware. Princesses cheat. On what basis? Royal privilege. I will remember this conversation. They reached blue. Vesa redirected. Metal spears shot across the arena. Caien turned. Heat accumulation. Not fireball. He pulled heat from the nearest metal surfaces. Frost appeared along the steel. Vesa's eyes widened. Her flexible ribbons became brittle. Caien struck one with his boot. It snapped. Aurelian looked at him. That is new. Caien grinned. Class 1F. They reached the pillar. Liora touched it. Nothing. She could not claim while Caien was designated caster unless the objective itself required no mana. The pillar required 30 seconds of physical contact. Anyone could hold it. Good. Aurelian placed one hand on the surface. 30. Liora watched Vesa. 29. Caien stepped between them. Fire gathered around his hands. Vesa raised every remaining metal blade. The audience roared. At the instructor platform, Seraphine watched carefully. He has improved. Edran drank tea. Yes. He is still reckless. Yes. He enjoys being reckless. Yes. You sound proud. No. Seraphine smiled faintly. Vesa attacked. Caien did not block. He redirected. Heat increased on one side of the first blade. Metal warped. The strike bent. Second. He removed heat. The edge stiffened. Third. A narrow fire thread wrapped around it and pulled. No giant spell. No dramatic fireball. Just decisions. 10 seconds. 15-inch. Vesa changed tactics. She stopped targeting Caien. The blades curved toward Aurelian and Liora. Caien's eyes widened. He moved. Too far. He could not cover both. Aurelian shouted. Liora, down. They separated. Caien sent flame toward Liora. Not as attack. A warm pressure wave pushed her aside. The blade missed. Aurelian had no help. Metal struck his barrier. Flash. Team A, minor damage. The pillar reset. Caien swore. Aurelian stood. You saved her. Yes. You could have maintained the pillar by protecting me. You were closer to the blade. Yes. Then why? Caien stopped. He knew. Instinct. Liora was his classmate. Aurelian was Aurelian. Caien hated the realization. Aurelian saw it. You chose your class. Caien's jaw tightened. Aurelian smiled. That is going to be a problem. Before Caien could answer, Aurelian grabbed the blue pillar again. Start counting. Caien stared. You are not angry? I am extremely offended. Good. But if we lose because you prefer Liora, I will become unbearable. You already are. Then imagine worse. Liora said. 28. Caien laughed despite himself. Vesa attacked again. This time, he protected both. Not because Aurelian deserved it. Not because Class 1A needed him. Because Team A did. At 30 seconds, the blue pillar ignited. Team A, blue control. The crowd exploded. The bell rang. 5 minutes. Caster rotation. Caien's flames vanished automatically under the arena restriction. The board changed. Team A caster, Liora Asterwin. Team B caster, Dane Merrick. Caien's smile disappeared. Lightning. Dane Merrick cracked his neck. Blue-white electricity gathered around him. Momentum step. Every movement accelerated the next. The longer he moved without interruption, the faster he became. Liora raised one light orb. Simple. Aurelian looked toward her. Plan? Yes. What? Make him stop. Caien frowned. He is a speed specialist. Yes. That sounds difficult. Liora looked toward the blue pillar. Then we will not chase him. Dane moved. 1 step. 2 inch. 3 inch. Faster. He circled. Team B had not yet claimed a pillar. Vesa and Galen ran toward gold. Dane's job was disruption. He crossed the arena in a blur. Liora fired light orb. He dodged. Exactly as expected. Second orb. Dodge. Third. Dane smiled. Too slow. Then he realized, the orbs were not aimed at him. They hovered at different heights. Light filled the lanes. Reflections formed on polished arena stone. Dane's shadow multiplied. Liora watched. His real motion became visible through displacement. She could not match speed. She did not need to. She predicted path. Caien. He looked. Left. He moved left. No magic. Just body. Aurelian understood. Right. Dane accelerated. The lane narrowed. Caien stood on one side. Aurelian on the other. Ordinary students. No spells. Dane could pass between them. But if he altered direction, momentum step would lose efficiency. He chose the gap. Liora fired light at the floor. Not Dane. Flash. For half a second. His depth perception failed. He slowed. Caien shoulder-checked him. Poorly. Both fell. The audience roared. Caien stared at Dane from the floor. No magic. Dane looked offended. That was a tackle. Yes. That is not sorcery. No. Caien grinned. Disappointing, isn't it? Across the field, Vesa and Galen nearly secured gold. Liora turned. Aurelian saw it. Too far. Yes. Your light could reach. Yes. But Dane will recover. Yes. Caien stood. Go. Liora looked at him. He nodded. Aurelian and I can be useless together. Aurelian frowned. I object to the phrasing. Liora ran. Dane stood. Caien stepped in front. No fire. No reinforcement. Just Caien. Dane smiled. You? Yes. You cannot stop me. Probably. Aurelian joined him. Dane looked between them. Both of you? Aurelian adjusted one sleeve. We are temporarily peasants. Caien stared. Never say that again. Dane accelerated. Caien and Aurelian moved. Not to catch. To obstruct. To force choices. Exactly what Lucan had done. Dane went left. Aurelian stepped left. Right. Caien. Dane stopped. Momentum broke. Caien smiled. Thank Lucan. Dane's expression soured. I hate Class 1F. Get in line. Meanwhile, Liora reached range. Vesa and Galen were at 24 seconds. Gold pillar nearly captured. Liora formed one small light orb. Galen noticed. He could not cast. Dane was designated caster. Vesa could not either. They were ordinary bodies at the pillar. Liora fired. Not at them. At the gold pillar's polished crown. Light reflected downward. Galen instinctively moved his hand to shield his eyes. Contact broke. Reset. Vesa shouted. Galen. I could not see. Liora fired again. Vesa held. Galen looked away. They adapted. Good. Liora smiled. Then created 6 orbs. Vesa swore. The next 90 seconds became absurd. Light from everywhere. No damage. No serious attacks. Just relentless irritation. Every time Team B approached 30 seconds. A flash forced adjustment. Aurelian watched from across the arena. She weaponized inconvenience. Caien nodded. She spends too much time around Edran. 5 minutes ended. Gold remained neutral. Blue remained Team A. Rotation. Team A caster, Aurelian crest. Team B caster, Galen ward. Aurelian smiled. Caien immediately disliked it. What? Aurelian raised one hand. Radiant edge formed. You have been waiting for this. No. You want to see whether I learned anything. Caien frowned. I do not care. You care intensely. Liora sighed. Please survive the next 5 minutes. Galen slammed one palm to the ground. Earth erupted. Not a wall. A landscape. Fortress skin spread across his arms while stone ridges split the arena. The direct lanes disappeared. Blue pillar became partially isolated. Gold rose onto a platform. Red sank into a shallow basin. Aurelian stared. Efficient. Galen smiled. Thank your classmate Torin. Torin, watching above, blinked. Caien shouted. He stole your lesson. Torin answered. He learned it. Edran looked toward Caien. Caien stopped. Oh, there it was again. Learning was not ownership. Aurelian moved. Radiant edge. But instead of forming the enormous sword, Caien remembered. The light narrowed. Small. Precise. One blade became 3. Then 5. Different angles. Caien's expression changed. That is. Aurelian looked at him. Fire never asked to become a ball. Caien stared. You stole that too. Aurelian smiled. I attended the lesson. You were not in our classroom. Rumors travel. Liora almost laughed. Aurelian's light blade struck Galen's stone ridges. Not to destroy. To cut shallow channels. Caien understood. A path. Yes. They ran. Galen raised more earth. Aurelian cut. Not stronger. Smarter. Every time Galen built a barrier, Aurelian changed form. Thin blade for joints. Wide plane for dust. Tiny light points to mark weak areas. Galen smiled. He adapted too. Instead of building thick walls, he moved existing stone. The battlefield flowed. Torin stood inside the observation box. His eyes widened. He's listening. Celine looked toward him. Galen? Yes. He learned from you. Torin placed one hand against the railing. For years, he had believed his gift made him useful because he could stand still and endure. Then Edran taught him the ground spoke. Now, another student had listened. Torin smiled. That's good. The match continued. No one dominating. No one humiliated. Class 1A had learned. Class 1F had learned. And now, they were learning from each other. Edran watched without speaking. Seraphine stood beside him. This is your fault. Edran glanced at her. I thought you disliked that phrase. I am adapting. Disturbing. Aurelian reached red. Caien and Liora followed. They began capture. Galen attacked with stone pillars. Aurelian redirected. 20 seconds. 24. 27. Galen sent the floor itself upward. Aurelian could stop it if he abandoned the pillar. He hesitated. Caien looked at him. There. The same decision Caien faced earlier. Protect teammates? Hold objective. Aurelian moved. He released the pillar. Radiant edge cut beneath the rising stone. Pressure redirected. Caien and Liora remained safe. The pillar reset. Aurelian stared. Caien grinned. You chose your team. Aurelian looked irritated. Do not make this emotional. It is extremely emotional. I regret helping you. Too late. The bell rang. 15 minutes complete. The restriction reset to Caien versus Vesa. Score. Team A, blue. Team B, none. But 20 minutes remained. Vesa had learned Caien. Caien had learned Vesa. The second cycle began harder. Vesa no longer sent metal directly. She heated it first using friction. Caien's thermal manipulation became less predictable. Caien stopped trying to control her metal. Instead, he controlled environment. Warm air, cold air, visibility. He created a thin thermal haze. Vesa's aim worsened. Team A nearly claimed red. Dane's next cycle erased it. Momentum step became smarter. He stopped building speed continuously. Short bursts. Unpredictable breaks. Liora had to stop relying on path prediction. So she created zones of light where speed itself became disadvantageous. Dane learned. Galen learned. Aurelian learned. Every 5 minutes, the battlefield became less about gifts, More about decisions. 25 minutes. 30-inch. Team B captured gold. Team A, blue. Team B, gold. 1 pillar each. Red neutral. Final 5 minutes. Caster order. Team A, Aurelian. Team B, Galen. Kaien looked toward the clock. Red. Liora nodded. Aurelian looked across the ruined arena. Galen already knew. Both teams ran. No complicated strategy remained. No time. Red pillar. Everything came down to 30 seconds. Aurelian could cast. Galen could cast. Kaien, Liora, Vesa, and Dane could not. They collided at the basin. Galen raised stone. Aurelian cut. Vesa tackled Kaien. Kaien shouted something unprintable. Dane intercepted Liora. Liora ducked. Aurelian reached the pillar. Hand down. Count began. 1 inch. Galen sent stone upward. Aurelian jumped but maintained contact with a light tether. The judge signaled. Legal. 5 inch. 6 inch. Galen attacked the tether. Aurelian split it. 8 inch. Vesa grabbed Aurelian physically. No magic. He lost footing. Contact remained through light. 12 inch. Dane reached the pillar. Placed his own hand. Now both teams were contesting. Timer paused. Kaien saw. He could not cast. He ran. Vesa intercepted. They crashed. Kaien fell. Liora moved toward Dane. Galen raised earth in her path. She could not break it. Aurelian could. But if Aurelian redirected magic, his tether might fail. He looked toward Kaien. Kaien shouted. Do it. Aurelian hesitated. Your timer? Do it. Aurelian cut the stone. Liora passed. Timer remained paused. She reached Dane. He braced. Liora stopped. Did not attack. She stepped beside him. And shouted. Nia. Everyone blinked. Nia was in the observation box. She frowned. Liora realized. Wrong person. Lucan collapsed laughing. Even Dane stared. Leora's face turned red. Kaien shouted from the floor. Princess. I know. She grabbed Dane's sleeve. He pulled away. Contact broke. Aurelian's timer resumed. 13 inch. 14 inch. Galen saw. He slammed both hands into the earth. The entire red basin lifted. Aurelian lost contact. Reset. 5 minutes nearly gone. 27 seconds remaining in the match. All 3 pillars would decide. Blue Team A. Gold Team B. Red neutral. Tie. The tournament rules appeared. Tiebreaker. Total objective contact time. The board calculated. Team A. Blue capture plus red attempts. Team B. Gold capture plus red contests. Numbers spun. Class 1F held its breath. Class 1A held its breath. The result appeared. Team A, 184.7 seconds. Team B, 184.7 seconds. Silence. Lucan stood. No. Celine stared. Exactly equal? Professor Seraphine looked at the judges. Even Edran raised an eyebrow. The board flashed. Secondary tiebreaker. Barrier integrity. Team A. Team B. Calculation. Team A, 71%. Team B, 71%. The grand arena exploded into laughter and disbelief. Kaien lay on the ground. You have got to be kidding. Vesa sat beside him. I hate all of you. Kaien looked at her. Mutual. The judge consulted tournament regulations. Longer than anyone enjoyed. Then finally, the arena amplification activated. Under Ranking War Rule 87, subsection 4. Lucan whispered. There are 87 rules? Celine said. There are 112. Lucan looked horrified. The judge continued. When all primary and secondary objective metrics remain equal, both teams will receive full tactical credit assessment and the match will be recorded as a draw. Silence. Then, the crowd erupted. A draw. Rank 24. Against 3 of Rank 1's best students. With 2 Class 1F students and their greatest individual rival forced onto one team. Kaien sat up. Aurelian looked toward him. Neither smiled. Then Aurelian extended one hand. Kaien stared at it. Do not make this dramatic. You are the dramatic one. Kaien took it. Aurelian pulled him up. Vesa helped Liora. Dane approached. Galen too. 6 students stood at the center. The audience applauded. Not because Class 1F had destroyed Class 1A. They had not. Not because rank 1 had been exposed as overrated. They had not. Class 1A had been excellent. Adaptive. Disciplined. Dangerous. That was why the result mattered. Class 1F had stood beside them. And belonged. The final ranking war preliminary scores were announced that evening. Students filled the grand arena. 24 class banners hung above the floor. Class 1F stood together. Edran sat behind them. Sleeping. Kaien turned. Professor. No response. Professor. Nothing. Kaien's eye twitched. Lucan whispered. He may be dead. Nia shook her head. He is breathing. Unfortunate. The ranking crystal activated. Class scores began appearing from bottom upward. 24, Class 1H. Class 1F froze. Their name had not appeared. 23, Class 1G. Still nothing. Kaien stopped breathing. 22, Class 1E. Celine slowly lowered her hands. 21, Class 1D. Lucan grabbed Torin's arm. Are we moving? Torin looked at him. You are holding me. I need structural support. 20, Class 1C. Class 1F stared. The entire arena began noticing. Last place was no longer last. 19, Class 1F. Silence. Then 24 students exploded. Kaien shouted. Lucan jumped onto Torin. Torin nearly dropped him. Celine covered her mouth. Nia smiled so widely it surprised everyone. Several students from Class 1F began hugging whoever was nearest. Liora stared at the board. 19. Not first. Not top 10. Not even impressive by traditional academy standards. They had moved 5 positions. Only 5. And somehow, it felt enormous. Kaien turned toward Edran. The professor had opened one eye. You knew. No. You knew. I suspected. You said ranking did not matter. It does not determine your worth. Kaien pointed at the board. But it matters. Yes. Kaien stopped. Edran stood. Looked at 24 students. Then at the number. 19. Lucan grinned. Congratulations. Edran's eyebrow moved. Lucan continued. We achieved a ranking. Silence. Kaien burst out laughing first. Then Celine. Torin. Nia. Liora. Eventually, even Edran smiled. Very slightly. Unfortunately. Above them. The ranking continued. Class 1A remained first. As they should. Aurelian looked across the arena. Found Kaien. Raised 2 fingers. 19-inch. Kaien responded with one. First. Then pointed at himself. Then upward. Aurelian understood. We're coming. He smiled. Try. Later that night, Class 1F returned to their classroom. No celebration had been scheduled. So Lucan organized one without authorization. There were pastries. Someone had stolen fruit from the faculty dining hall. Kaien blamed Edran. Edran denied involvement while eating the fruit. Celine placed a new sheet of paper on the board. The old instructor replacement petition had been preserved. Folded. Slightly burned. Still carrying 16 signatures. Kaien stared at it. Then took it down. No ceremony. No speech. He walked to Edran's desk. Placed it there. Edran looked at the paper. What? Kaien crossed his arms. We never submitted it. I noticed. I am withdrawing it. Edran looked toward the signatures. Then Kaien. What? Kaien frowned. Do you want us to replace you? Vacation would be pleasant. Professor. Edran leaned back. Kaien looked around the room. Celine. Torin. Nia. Lucan. Liora. 24 students. Then back. You are still late. Yes. You still sleep during class. Yes. You ignore the curriculum. When possible. You steal faculty food. Allegedly. You are terrible at encouragement. Yes. You refuse to explain anything normally. Yes. Kaien's mouth twitched. But. He looked toward the petition. You are our teacher. Silence. Edran did not move. For 12 years. He had avoided that word. Teacher. Caelum still used it like an accusation. The 7th forgotten voice used his name instead. And now. Kaien said teacher without worship. Without fear. Without history. Just. Their teacher. Edran looked away. Poor judgment. Kaien grinned. Probably. He tore the petition in half. Lucan gasped. That was excellent paperwork. Kaien tore it again. No. Nia took one piece. Folded it into a tiny paper bird. Celine smiled. Torin placed another beneath a table leg that wobbled. Liora took the section containing the title. Formal request for instructor replacement. She turned it over. On the blank side, she wrote, "Denied." Then placed it on Edran's desk. He stared. "You cannot deny your own request." Liora replied. "We adapted." Edran sighed. "I have created monsters." From the hallway, Dean Laziest answered. "Yes." Everyone turned. She stood in the doorway. Behind her, Commander Orven Hale, Professor Seraphine, Professor Dalmir, and Magister Rusk. The celebration died immediately. Lucan hid the stolen pastries. Poorly, Rusk entered. His expression was unreadable. Kaien stood. Liora did too. Edran remained seated. Rusk looked toward the ranking board someone had copied onto the classroom chalkboard. Class 1F, rank 19. Then toward Edran. "The council inquiry will resume tomorrow." Edran groaned. "But tonight?" Rusk paused. "I came concerning a separate matter." He placed an official document on the desk. Edran did not touch it. Laziest read aloud. "By provisional assessment of the Academy Ranking War Board, Class 1F has demonstrated sufficient tactical improvement, adaptive competency, and team performance to retain its current faculty assignment without administrative intervention." Kaien blinked. Lucan whispered. "They were considering removing him anyway?" Laziest nodded. "Your petition triggered a formal review." Kaien looked horrified. Edran smiled. "This is your fault." Kaien pointed. "You told us to submit it. You did not submit it. You just said it triggered a review. Administrative systems are mysterious." Rusk continued. "Professor Edran Vare remains instructor of Class 1F. The room went quiet. Then Lucan raised both hands. "Excellent." Everyone looked. He lowered them. "I am emotionally invested now." Rusk looked toward Edran. "One additional condition." Edran narrowed his eyes. "No. You have not heard it. Conditions are obligations. You will attend all required faculty meetings." "No." Laziest smiled. "Yes." Edran looked betrayed. Class 1F started laughing. Much later, after students left, after professors returned to their offices, after the grand arena lights went dark, Edran stood alone in Class 1F. Rank 19 remained written on the board. 5 places. That was all. 5 places. And 24 students walked differently than they had 2 weeks ago. Not because the academy respected them. Because they had started respecting themselves. Edran touched the desk. The place where the petition had rested. Then, his chest burned. The 7th chain. Harder. He closed his eyes. A memory moved. 7-inch students standing in another room. Caelum first. Laziest younger. No. Laziest had not been one of 7. Another face. 2nd. 3rd. 4th. 5th. 6th. Then, the 7th. Nothing. The harder he tried, the more pain came. A voice whispered, "Do not force it." Edran opened his eyes. The classroom was empty. He looked around. "Who are you?" Silence. Then, far beneath him, the first foundation answered. Not with sound. With words. Black writing appeared across the classroom board beneath rank 19. Edran froze. "You forgot." His face lost color. Another line. "She remembers." Edran stepped closer. Golden chains appeared faintly beneath his skin. "What did I forget?" The chalk moved by itself. 7th. His heart stopped. The 7th seal burned. The classroom windows shook. Edran grabbed the desk. No. Images flashed. A girl standing beside Caelum. A hand. Blood. A promise. A spell. His own voice. "If I seal this, no one can use you." Her voice. "Including you?" Edran. "Including me." Then. Nothing. He staggered backward. The board cracked. Far below. The 7th disciple opened her eyes. She felt him. For the first time in 12 years. He had reached the edge of the missing memory. The first foundation wrote before her. Edran asked who. She stared. Then. Answer? Her fingers trembled. She could tell it. One name. One word. And the seal might recognize her. But she remembered the question the foundation had asked. "Do you want to open?" Her answer remained the same. "I don't know." So she shook her head. "Not yet." The foundation paused. Then. What? She looked upward. "He needs to choose to remember." "He cannot." "No." A sad smile. "I know." The Foundation waited. She touched the 7th lock. Then maybe. He needs to understand why he chose to forget. Elsewhere. Caelum Dreven stood before a massive black window. The lights of the royal capital glowed far away. A Black Veil operative entered. Asterian's ranking war has concluded. Caelum did not turn. Class 1F? Rank 19. A faint smile appeared. 5 places. Yes. Teacher will pretend not to care. The operative hesitated. There is more. Caelum waited. The council recovered the designation EV. His smile disappeared. And the 7th disciple record. Silence. Long. Dangerous. Caelum turned. Who has seen it? Council investigators. Dean Arklane. Commander Hale. Possibly several professors. And Edran? Yes. Caelum closed his eyes. For 12 years. He had wanted Edran to remember. For 12 years. He had hated him for forgetting. But hatred was easy when consequences remained theoretical. Now, the 7th seal was actually moving. Caelum whispered. Too early. The operative blinked. You wanted the truth exposed. Not that truth. He walked toward the window. Below. The capital stretched outward. Royal Palace. Council towers. Guild halls. Noble districts. The structures humanity had rebuilt after liberation. Smaller thrones. Different names. Same hunger. Caelum's expression hardened. Asterian was only the beginning. The operative waited. The ranking war? Finished. And next? Caelum looked toward the royal palace. Now the crown asks questions. Far away. Princess Liora's hidden crown gate pulsed. Once. The royal seal answered. An ancient mechanism beneath the capital. Something untouched since the liberation. Opened one golden eye. Caelum whispered. Prepare the capital. The following morning. Class 1F gathered outside Asterian's western building. No arena. No tournament announcements. No rankings. Just students. Caien looked at the new number stitched temporarily beneath their class emblem. 19. Lucan admired it. We have become mediocre. Celine sighed. We are still below average. Exactly. Progress. Torin smiled. Nia adjusted her bag. Liora looked toward the western steps. Edran was late. Naturally. 1 minute. 3 inch. 7 inch. Caien's eye twitched. Nothing changed. Celine smiled. Some things did. At 11 minutes late. Edran appeared. Tea in one hand. Coat unbuttoned. Hair worse than usual. He stopped before them. 24 students stared. Caien folded his arms. You are late. Yes. Ranking war is over. Yes. What now? Edran looked at them. That question. 12 years ago. Humanity asked it. He had disappeared. Caelum never forgave him. The 7 disciples scattered. And the world rebuilt its cages. What now? This time. Edran did not leave. He turned toward the classroom. Now. The students waited. We continue. Caien smiled. Celine followed. Torin. Nia. Lucan. Liora. All 24. Edran opened the classroom door. And beneath Asterian. The first foundation wrote. Ranking war. And. Then. Lesson. Continues. The forgotten 7th disciple looked at the words. For the first time. She smiled without bitterness. Good. Because perhaps that had always been the lesson Edran needed most. Freedom was not the moment a chain broke. Victory was not the moment an enemy fell. Teaching was not the moment a student understood. The real question came afterward. What do you do next? This time. Edran Vare had an answer. He stayed. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe.